Hey everyone, Professor Oak. Bit of a late night recording. It is Tuesday evening. Just finished tidying up this data that I pulled over the weekend for the PSA WOTC grading for Pokemon. So what I did, you can kind of see here. I used January numbers when I first started collecting. I kind of hid all the things in between where I was pulling it weekly and monthly. I put January, April, and now the end of June, the beginning of July, essentially. The population report, just kind of see where they're at. So let's jump straight into it. And don't talk super fast, so you may want to 1.5x this to maybe even 2x it if you want to listen to it. Dan, if you're listening, my fellow data lover. So yeah, you can see base set. We started the year out with 400,000, currently at 500,000. So pretty significant jump there. Looks like quarter two. Essentially, what we're going to go through is the last quarter. So the Q2, April, May, and June of 2022. It looks like they did 55,000 base cards in those 3 months of 2022. A little under 10% of those were PSA 10's, so not terrible. But only 64 were PSA 10 hollows in base set. So that is why there's such a premium on them. I've said it before, and it's pretty clear. You know, you could grade 5,000 base cards out of that and get 6 hollows in a 10 for base set. So yeah, it's unlimited first edition. That's everything together and not a whole lot going on there. So jump into jungle. Let's try and move through these a bit quicker. 23,000 essentially for the second quarter of 2022. The last 3 months, 23,000, a little over 2,000 graded in a 10. Just 18 jungle cards were PSA 10 hollow. Crazy low number, crazy low. Fossil, 20,000 were graded, 2,500 roughly hit a 10 and just 87. A little bit better number than the other guys. Certainly in relativity to how many got graded, there's a little better, but it's still crazy low. I mean, that's less than 100 for each 20,000 submitted. So 2010, 200, 1 in 200 roughly cards hitting a 10 hollow in English. Base 2, let's move on to that. 7,000 cards got graded. A little over 600 hit 10, and just 17 of those were hollows. Crazy low. When we're looking at Rocket, bit of a different number here. So 23,373. So a little over 23,000 got graded this last quarter. Pretty big jump. When we're looking this year, I think this was the biggest jump from what I could really tell for Rocket out of all the WOTC. But 110,000 we basically started the year out with, and we're now at over 150. So a 40% of Rocket cards got graded in the past 5 months. 40% of the total population of Team Rocket in English got graded in the past 5 months. That's insane. So that just shows backlog. There's definitely Rocket lovers just like me. That was what I sent in. I love that. So crazy. Out of that, at the moment, there's a little over 6,000 in hollow PSA 10s. This last quarter, there was 128 got added. So that's a pretty big jump. I think that was the biggest jump out of any, which is good to see. Obviously some people looked after those in the collection. Gym Heroes, we're looking at almost 8,000 got graded, a little over 700. Roughly 10% basically hit the 10. In a holo, it was just 70, so about 1%. Gym challenge, slightly different numbers here. Definitely significantly more hit a 10, so a little over 8,000, pretty close, within a few hundred, comparably with Gym Heroes, but over double got a 10, over twice as many as Gym Heroes for Gym Challenge did. And then same for the holos, the PSA 10 holos, well over double. There was 181. I think that was the biggest PSA 10 holo jump for this last quarter. I don't know what happened. I don't know if maybe there was one person with a big collection that really had good quality stuff, but huge jump there. New Genesis, getting a little bit more to the realistic numbers. It looks like 8,500 got graded. 1,000 of those, so well over 10%, but just over 1,000 of them hit the 10. Just 40 of those hit a 10 holo. Looking at Neo Discovery, a little over 3,000 graded, 400 and hit a 10, 18 in holo. All pretty similar. Revelation, I think we're on a little over 3,600 hit a 10, 17 hit a holo, 10. Destiny seems like pretty comparable. 5,000 were graded, 1,200 hit a 10. Definitely a better ratio than a lot of the other sets. That's almost 20%, a little over 20%, it looks like, or 10's in Neo Destiny. So I don't know if that was a much better quality printed set or just less people had them in the binders like base set, just using and abusing them. Maybe they were more of a collectible type set when it got to Destiny. Super interesting legendary collection. Obviously people love the reverse holos, but the regular holos this year, since January, there were 2 in the first quarter that got graded in a 10 holo, but 0 have hit a holo PSA 10. I checked the populations for the individual cards. I don't think there was a single one in triple digits. I think they're all in double digits for 10 holos, and some were in single digits. So that might be a play there, guys. Like, I haven't dug into it a lot, but I feel like that's a crazy low pop compared to some of the other sets and what's available in a 10 holo. But nothing getting knocked out and only having 418. Maybe there's no love for it because people want the reverses, but there has to be some demand for the set collectors, the people that want the full holo, reverse holo, every other kind of holo set. There's got to be some kind of play there, so look into that. Let me know in the comments what you think about that play, I guess I should say. Let's go here. I'm just going to move this slightly just so we can round out the end. If you guys can see this, let me know if it's too small. Moving on to Expedition, we have 3,264 graded, a little under 500 hit a 10, 19 hit the holo, Quaplist 2,400, 500 for the 10s, 33 for the holo. Nothing crazy, nothing really standing out in the others. Skyridge felt like a pretty big jump for the holos. Skyridge, there was 2,700 graded, 113 of those were PSA 10 holo. I thought that was a pretty decent jump there. So I know that some people have sent some in. I think I saw Echo sent a few in. I know I saw his Pikachu's. I'm hoping he's going to give me a deal on one. If you want to DM him and you want to give him a nudge, I really need the Skyridge one. But yeah, definitely it seems like a big jump there. I then did like kind of a bit of a summary here, just kind of sum up what happened. So we can see the population total of WOTC PSA cards for Pokemon is 1.4 million. Quite a lot of cards out there. People talk about junk slabs and bags and the rest of it. 1.4 million graded cards from the WOTC generation is significant. I mean, absolutely mind-boggling to even think of. Out of that, less than 45,000 are in a 10 holo. So that's why when you see these numbers, they're crazy high, but that's obviously where the plays are. There's got to be huge demand for the 10. Everybody wants a 10. Some people are happy with the 9. I've got plenty, and I've probably got comparably amount of 9s than I have in 10 in a lot of my collection. So yeah, I mean, maybe I should break 9 down too, just be tricky with what's going on. Already it takes me hours to pull this manually, but I think just generally the 1 to 9 population being 1.1 million what's the cards that are not a 10, pretty crazy. So excuse me, I think what is also interesting is we started the year out with 20% of the population being 10s essentially, and the last quarter, the quarter that we just analysed, 11.6 were 10. So it's 40-ish, slightly over 40% reduction. So that just kind of shows you the kind of cards that were being sent in to PSA during the boom, this backlog, this huge amount of cards, people just sending everything in. I mean, it's right there. Super interesting is the 10 holos went from, we were about a 4% population back in January. This last quarter, 0.5%. So 1 in 200 cards being sent in were good enough to be a 10 and were holo, essentially. And previously we were at about 4%. That's a big drop. Super big drop. So you can see here what it kind of means. The 1 to 9 population, we were sitting at about 80% during them knocking the backlog out back in January. We're almost 90% 1 to 9. So 90% of cards are those lower grades. That's everything mixed in there. But it ain't easy to get a WOTC PSA 10, essentially. If you can get them, if you can grade them raw, grade them from your collection. If you get them at a steal, get on it. Because I think if anything's going to go up in value to a point where scarcity and demand is key, which I think another thing that we've got to consider is some of these people with these 1.1 million cards that are sat in a 1 to a 9 in this last quarter, 155,000 cards essentially were graded a 1 and a 9 for WOTC. How many of those people are going to want to upgrade? So not all of those are getting listed, right? We're not seeing 155,000 WOTC cards jumping on eBay for a grade 1 through 9 in this past 3 months. I don't think that I can tell. 50,000 a month seems extreme for what I've been looking at. I would think a decent chunk of those are probably for people's collections. They were childhood cards, just like some of the cards I sent in. Some of them are gifts, investments, whatever, a multitude of ways. But I would imagine a chunk of those are going to be people that want to upgrade and complete sets. They hit a 9, they can't find any raw, and now they need that Mewtwo in a 10. Now they want a Mewtwo in a 10 and in the holo. Like, at some point they're going to start chasing it. So I think when they start rolling, I think that bodes well for the future of what's the PSA 10s. People talk badly of them. They say they don't move much, but they're hella liquid. We all know that, and we all know that there's demand. So the more people that's demanding in the future, hopefully there's going to be more demand for those specific types of cards, those grades, and this first gen, second gen era type cards. I don't know. It seems like a smart play. So I would maybe steer away from these 1 to 9s and maybe jump into the 10s. I mean, when we're looking at 10 hollows, there's total for every WOTC generation, there's under 45,000 cards there. That's not many. So I thought you'd enjoy it. Let me know, guys, what you think. I know I was doing it weekly and monthly. I was kind of playing around. I figured it would have a clearer, greater impact if we talked about it quarterly. So I'll be pulling this again end of September, hopefully October 1st. Try and hit the nail on the head there, and then I'll do end of year one with a full year recap of where we've looked from January. But yeah, let me know what you think. Anything that stands out, anything you don't agree with, any comments. I'm always excited to see your guys' comments. Always enjoy it. I try to engage with you, so embrace it. Feed my appetite for the fun of us chatting. Join the Discord. You'll see the link in the description. It's fun. A lot of cool people in there, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys. Thank you.